Hey Drew, you killed this shit.
Welcome. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's Eve, I should say. And welcome to the first episode of In the Four Corners of Wrestling. I'm your host, Marshall, Mr. Soul Simmons. And we have a panelist of good guys that we're going to introduce to you. This show is strictly wrestling. Everything you want to know about wrestling. Everything you love about wrestling. Everything you might hate about wrestling. What you think they should change about wrestling. We'd like to hear from you. Hit us in our comment box. You catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and you always catch us on YouTube. We'd like to thank 613 Faye Productions for doing this, giving us this platform. Big shout out to big Mr. Mike Chili T. And we're going to start this thing off by going around the panel, introducing our guests. We're going to get a little history and background on everybody. So first of all, we're going to start in the blue corner, coming from Silver Spring by way of Washington, D.C., the man, the myth, Jose Quavo.
Quavo, what's going on, y'all? It's Jose
What's up,
Quavo.
Jose?
How's it going, Marshall?
All right, man. Happy New Year's Eve, brother.
Happy New Year's Eve to you too, man. I'm excited, dude. You know want to know why I'm excited, man?
What's that, man?
Man, I'm excited because I get to go against three of the toughest competitors in this biz right now, man. And I'm excited because I'm gonna give them hell. But go ahead and introduce the other corners, man. I'm excited.
We're gonna get it cracking, babe. We're gonna get it cracking. And next, in the silver corner, clanging and banging, we got my man, the inspirational muscle man, Rell.
Hey everybody, I'm here. I'm ready. Ready to bust some ass. Let's go.
My man, short and sweet. Watch out for that guy now. Next, we got coming out of the red corner, my dude, the infamous Jay Will.
Will coming out of Flair country. Woo!
Woo! My bad. Yes, sir. You coming out of Greenville. Gotta say that right. Flair country, North Carolina, baby. All right. And last but not least, in the black corner, Mr. PipeBomb himself, Colin from DC. What's up, Colin?
What's up, Marshall? How's it going, man?
Oh, I'm good, baby. Happy New Year's Eve, man.
You too, brother. You too. You know, I was thinking about something. I was thinking about, here's a spoiler, right? I was gonna come out, I was gonna be a nice guy, I was gonna shake hands, I was gonna kiss babies. But then I thought about it. Why should I humor these people, right? So here's the spoiler. These three other Rudy Poo candy asses are gonna say something ridiculous, and I'm gonna check their asses. Trust me. Let's go.
I like it, baby. I like it. While we get into that, we're gonna go around the square circle. We're gonna allow everybody to give their wrestling history. Okay, we're gonna start with me, and then I'm gonna release it to the guys going corner by corner. All right. So me, wrestling has always been about family. It's been family rooted. Started with my great grandmother. Rest in peace to her. Went to my grandma and watched it with my dad, and watched with my own children. And me and my brother, we still watch it to this day. Been little short periods of time that I haven't watched it. I remember when NWO was created. I remember the first Monday Night Raw. I was actually in Hampton when DX invaded the Hampton Coliseum, and that was a great night right there. But like I say, it's about family. So you guys, everybody listening, you are my wrestling family. So we're gonna go to the next corner, and we're gonna start off in the black corner with Mr. Colin from DC, Mr. PipeBomb. Why don't you give us a highlight of your wrestling history?
Yes, sir. Hulkamaniac since the day I was born. Mom and dad sat down with me, watched wrestling since I was in the crib. My dad is a big Macho Man fan. Mom is a big Ultimate Warrior fan. I'm obviously a big Hulk Hogan fan. So, we were always arguing about who was the best. Got a little bit older, started paying attention to the bad guys a little bit more. But yeah, man, since day one, then Hulk Hogan went to the NWO, created the NWO, and I had to go with him. So anywhere Hulk Hogan goes, I go, except for 2015.
All right. Mr. Hulkamania in the house, Mr. PipeBomb, I hear you. All right, next, we're going to hit the silver corner. Muscle Man Rell, get a background about you, brother.
I started watching wrestling back in the early 90s with my grandfather. Remember watching the first WrestleMania, Caesar's Palace, Undertaker. One of the matches was Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez. Wasn't a marquee match, but it definitely was a match that caught my attention with two larger-than-life characters. Grew up a big Shawn Michaels fan from the time he was with Sensational Sherry. Before he had the hearts on his tights, this was early Shawn Michaels when he just went singles. I was a big fan playing it on the Nintendo, wrestling as Shawn Michaels each and every time, dancing with my sister, acting like I was Shawn Michaels. So those are great times. So I'm a heartbreaker and I'm ready to break some hearts in these debates. Let's go.
All right, Mr. Heartbreaker. I'm glad you went down that road and not down the ugly suit road. You know what I mean? So we're going to keep it going, Mr. Muscle Man. Next, we're going to hit up the infamous Jay Will in the red corner. Why don't you go ahead and give us a background, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Flair Country. Woo!
Yeah, Jay Will, Flair Country. So it speaks for itself. My family grew up in North Carolina, and my pops got me into wrestling. So my first wrestling matches that I saw was with WCW. Got to see Ric Flair, some of his good matches way back in the day. Got to see a lot of WCW Nitro, and I remember when I started watching for real seriously during the Monday Night Wars, the whole Attitude Era. So I got really hooked into wrestling at that time, and just spending the time watching with friends and family. And man, I just love it. Just love it. Just especially appreciate a lot of my characters from that Attitude Era. That's where I got to see some real good character development, which is what kept me a hold to wrestling.
Okay. Nice. So next and last, but not least, I want him to come for me. Jose Cuevo, would you give us your background?
Phrasing. What's going on, guys? It's Quavo. So let me tell you a little bit about how I got into wrestling. I think I first started very, very young watching it with my grandfather. We would go to his apartment and we'd just hang out. He would have a beer open and he'd be watching wrestling. I'd be watching wrestling, but also looking at that beer like, hey, let me take a sip, but I shouldn't. But the cool thing about wrestling is that I love that they create great storylines that really captivate audiences and they keep coming back. Because that's the thing, you don't just watch wrestling as a kid, you also watch it growing up. And I think the best part of watching it growing up is thinking, man, I could probably put somebody through that table if I really wanted to, you know. But that's what I love about wrestling, man. You leave this in the ring, do not do it at home, because trust me, these athletes, they put their heart and soul into the ring, blood, sweat, and tears. And that's what we love about this this sport, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So we'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We're gonna have a good time and we're gonna keep you entertained. All right. First order of business though, sad days. We got some sad news last night. A good wrestling guy, Washington football team fan, John Huber, who a lot of y'all know as Luke Harper, also known as Brody Lee, passed away. Very sad news around the Western world. And if you guys don't mind, before I get your thoughts on it, just like how they do in the ring, I like to go ahead and give a 10-second count for a moment of silence for Brody Lee. right. Rest in peace, John Huber, also known as Luke Harper, also known as Brody Lee. Prayers going out to his family. He was a good guy. Somebody I enjoyed watching on TV, especially when he was with the Wyatt family. And I followed him when he went to AEW. And let me tell you, the character that he came out with in AEW, it was like a Vince McMahon type thing, except better to me. And he was just killing that thing with the Dark Order. And he will be missed. So I want to go around the square circle and get all you guys' thoughts about Brody Lee. What do you remember before, real quick? And yeah, just whatever you got to say, just go ahead and say it. So, Jay Will, Red Corner, we'll start with you.
So Brody was somebody that I thoroughly enjoyed. It just a big hit for everybody, for the industry. Kind of shook. Just a big year overall, just shaken by all of it going down. Definitely going to be lost. Definitely going to miss.
Definitely. Jose?
The thing about Brody is that he was an amazing wrestler, man. The best parts about him was that he could speak without speaking. His body language was impeccable. And I think that's what made him an amazing wrestler, amazing athlete to work with. You see him working with, the groups that he works with and tag teams, and overall he had a lot of potential. So we're definitely gonna miss him. I'll give that back to you, Marshall.
Thank you. Rel?
Not to say or back here, but he was definitely a great wrestler. I loved his clothesline. He had a great finisher. But the most important thing that when I looked it up I actually looked at his biography, videography, I would say, on the and he was a big top family man like myself. So that was the first thing I thought of, actually, not even wrestling. That was the first thing I thought of when I heard of his passing last night. So he will be missed, I'm sure, by the wrestling world, but I definitely keep the prayers of his family on our hearts. So
Definitely. Thank you. Colin?
Yeah, he was a great wrestler. Obviously in the WWE as Luke Harper, and then obviously he went to AEW and became the leader of the Dark Order. But the thing that I actually saw a lot of that really hit home for me was that he was such a great father. And I'm actually, the father of a little 2-year-old boy and stuff like that. And I saw all the videos, all the pictures of him with his little boy or his kids. And especially at WrestleMania, where he was, running around with them, and there was a little chant for his son. That really hit home to me. And obviously outside of the wrestling game, that's extremely important. But when the day is done, it's about being a father, a family, a life outside of wrestling, and that's it goes to show you tomorrow is never promised. So rest in peace to Brody. Thoughts and prayers to him and his family.
Right. Yeah, as a father myself, it really hits, and to see everybody giving the love that they gave him on social media lets you know what kind of person he was. A good guy, and like I said, we wish his family all the best and definitely praying for him. So moving on to pick things up, we're going to move on to our first topic. I want to get you guys' opinion on it, see what you think. We're going to go back in the day, take it back. We're going to the 90s, 1990s. And I want to know, who you think is the most underutilized in the 90s? We're going to start this thing off with Colin. What you think, Colin? The pipe bomb.
There's no pipe bomb. It's just straight facts. It's just straight truth. You gotta get into your head, man.
Whoa.
My man.
Whoa.
So basically, I got a quick list here. I got Lord Steven Regal from WCW. Great technical matches. He would do the little nasty things to gain heat. Alex Wright. There's something about Das Wonder Kid.
Alex Wright.
I love that kid. Love that kid. Just he would do the little things. Just excellent athleticism. But obviously he got injured a lot, and that was the end of Das Wonderkind. Too Cold Scorpio. He was doing cruiserweight moves in a big man's body. He was doing moves at a time that no one else was doing. I'm not saying he should have been world champion, but I think he could have been up there in the United States title, intercontinental title level, and been a presence there. This next one is a 2-for-1. I got Dustin Rhodes / Goldust. The natural Dustin Rhodes in WCW was the number 2 face in the company, but then he got caught up with Hulk Hogan, and that's my guy. So no one ever should say anything about him. But when Hulk Hogan came in and he brought his friends in. Unfortunately, he got moved down the card, and then that was basically the end of the natural Dustin Rhodes. But Sting during that time with the NWO, Sting didn't fight for a whole year. So it made sense to have the son of the American Dream, Dustin Rhodes, fighting for the soul of WCW in the meantime. They kind of slipped on that. The second part of this is Goldust. He was a unique character in the WWF during 1995 and 1996, but that character was perfect and terrible for that era. He was perfect because he was outlandish. Nobody else was like him, but unfortunately, nobody else was like him. if you got and people were afraid of that shit.
Right.
You got Shelton Benjamin. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. His run against, I believe it was Evolution in 2004, should have put him in the main event. Carlito, I spit in the face of people that don't want to be cool. That guy, that's it right there. Just that guy should have been special too. I think he got caught up with the John Cena wave. And last but not least, Kofi Kingston. Actually, you know what? Not Kofi Kingston. Take that out. Sorry. The end.
Okay. Well, I see you mixed, a little 2000s in there with the 90s, but it's all good, because a lot of those guys did start back then. So that's why I think they didn't get, utilized as much back then. Starting out, you got to get your feet wet. You got to make yourself established a little bit. You know what I mean? Jose Cuevo, what you think?
Man, I think the 90s had a lot of great wrestlers. And I think it's just incredible. And I'm surprised Colin didn't say it. I thought he was gonna say it, but out of everyone, you know that you gotta say it. Owen Hart, man.
Yes,
Owen Hart.
sir.
Owen Hart.
R.I.P.
Now, personally, my favorite wrestler that I know I felt was underutilized. This is just personal opinion, but Vader. I feel like they could have used Vader more.
No Bird.
That's just
man.
me. But those are just the
Yeah.
top 2 that I want to put as most underutilized. I want to hot tag somebody in because I know they want to say something.
Yeah, who you want to hot tag in? I think we should go ahead and let Jay Will have some.
Out the gate, I'm bringing Owen Hart back. Bring that, run that back one more time. Owen Hart, pound for pound, I'm going to say it. I'm going to drop a pipe bomb. Better wrestler than Brett. Hands down, a better wrestler than Brett. He's more entertaining. He's more agile. He was willing to take more risks. The WWE did not handle him the best way possible. Underutilized.
Well,
tremendously.
Let's bring it back. Take it further back. WCW. Steve Austin. Stunning Steve Austin. Solid matches. He was still very much a solid wrestler. They couldn't do anything with him. They flat out couldn't do anything with him. Then he goes to WWE. And he drops gems on them. King of the Ring is where it all took off. He just needed that moment for him to be used the correct way. Who else? The WCW mishandled opportunities. It's going to be encompassing to say the entire cruiserweight division. We had a bunch of amazing wrestlers. We had Chris Benoit, Dave Malenko, who, granted, he put on amazing matches. He just didn't have the personality to sell, like if they put him in the Attitude Era. But friggin' Eddie Guerrero was there. Rey Mysterio, who ended up becoming one of the hugest stars of the WWE at the time. And
Billy
then
Kidman.
we had Jericho, Billy Kidman. Like we had the whole Lucha Libre division. Juventud Guerrera. We had Ultimo Dragon. We had the dude he had the horn mask. He had kind of like the devil / goat. What his name is escaping me.
All right, we're gonna move on from that. Yeah, we're gonna move on for that. And we're gonna let Jose. When we have Jose, we're gonna let Rell have a crack at Rell. Who you think the most underutilized wrestler in the 90s?
I'm gonna have to go with. I mean, I heard a few that I actually agree with. I'll go with Stone Cold, starting with Stone Cold. I think in the '90s in WCW, I felt that he was underutilized, especially when he was with, I believe he was with the $1 Million Man at that time. He had the $1 Million belt. I felt that he could have been. I'll go with two names. I'll keep it short here. Chris Jericho in WCW and Chris Benoit in WCW. We saw what they did once they got to WWF, and WWF took advantage of, WWE. They took advantage of both of those wrestlers once they got there. And I think for those same reasons is why those two are probably the most underutilized in the 90s. And we saw what Chris Jericho has become, what he became, and what he is now. Still relevant. So I thought that.
Okay. I definitely got to agree with Owen. Owen has to be at the top of the list. The Black Heart gimmick, just to me, he was like better than Brett, better on the mic, better performer, more athletic. Jimmy Avil Neidhart for me. Y'all mentioned Dean Malenko, Taz. You mentioned Goldust. Flying Brian Pillman. What about him? You know what I mean? D'Lo Brown. A lot of people might not agree with this next one. I'm gonna leave you with this one. Sean Waltman. Him as X-Pac. And we're moving on. All right, top heels of the 90s. We're gonna keep it with the 90s. I know what you guys think. Top heels. For me, and I'm gonna get this quick and out the way. Top two of the 90s, Mr. McMahon and Vader. Vader scared the shit out of me. You see this big ass motherfucker coming talking about no pain and come on, man. He's like what, 400 pounds, 400 pounds? Big guy. And Mr. McMahon, I mean, come on. Just had to hate him. You're fired. So I want to know you guys' thoughts. Top heels of the 90s. I'm gonna start with Jay Will. Red corner.
That's from me, but I'm just going to go ahead and knock it out the park and say Triple H. How could you not enjoy Triple H? Hilarious. He was one of the best heels ever.
He's up there. Debatable.
Oh.
Debatable. Jose, what you got?
Oh, I'm so mad at you, Jay Will. I was gonna go with H. Hunter's been killing it, you jerk. But I'm gonna go for the 90s. For the 90s, I'm gonna go with $1 Million Man, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
Money. Hey.
Come on, bro.
$100 bills in his
Come
opponent's
on.
mouth.
Everybody's got a price.
Move.
Come on, man.
Great heel move. Okay, Colin.
I got three. I got this one's easy. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Like, come on, the leader of the NWO. He spat on Miss Elizabeth. He was just he had all the garbage, all the stuff just thrown at him. Everyone hated him. He was the ultimate good guy. What? Say your prayers, take your vitamins. Exactly. And now he's just like, he's telling people to stick it. Come on, y'all.
He spray painted my man Macho Man, and I didn't appreciate that.
He spray painted a lot of niggas. He spray painted
hey, Macho Man, I took offense to. All right.
I took that one personal.
Second one I got is Heart Foundation, Bret Hart. Heart Foundation, Bret Hart. So basically, early 1997. He was hated in America, but loved everywhere else. Why was he hated in America? Because he said America fucking sucked. That's basically why. But the thing about Bret Hart was, or that type of Bret Hart was, everything he said, he truly in his heart believed. He was an extremely believable heel. So anything that he truly believed that he was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you know what? He was right. Especially when somebody said something about how Owen was better. That please take your medication.
Whoa.
As we move on, last but not least, D-Generation X, Shawn Michaels. That guy was, the personification of Attitude Era. I don't like Shawn all that much, but he, the things he was doing was just, he would always get a response, evoke a response from you, and he was pretty entertaining. But that dude was pretty tough.
Yeah, he definitely knew how to draw some heat. Let me tell you, definitely. Muscle Man, got a thought on this one?
Yeah, I'll just choose three. My first choice is Vince McMahon. He's number one. Should be number one. There should be no debate. Number one. Point blank. Number one here. between Triple H, Stone Cold being number one, The Rock. He had the biggest feud with the biggest wrestler in the 90s at that time. Number two, I'd go Hulk Hogan. Number three, I go Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, really, we don't have to say anything from betraying Marty Jannetty to being the cockiest wrestler next to Mr. Perfect. I mean, he was the next best thing there. So I'll say those three. Hulk Hogan, we know why. Coming from the biggest face to being the biggest heel, to the guys who betrayed WWF and people knew it. We already know. We saw the garbage be thrown into the ring back then, and it was a shocker. There were
so much garbage.
There were no wrestling news reports. We didn't have the big internet back then. Not everybody had that. So I think that Hulk Hogan also was one of the biggest heels at the time. So those three will be my choices. I bet anybody. I want somebody to try and argue that point.
I hear you, Muscle Man. Well, I can't agree. Like that night that Hulk Hogan turned, I was watching and I was pissed. Like if I had some popcorn to drink, I probably would have threw it in the ring. It was like the biggest heel turn in history. I'm surprised that nobody mentioned The Undertaker when he was a leader of the Ministry of Darkness. That was a very dark Undertaker, strapping up Stephanie, strapping up Stone Cold. You know, Colin, what you think?
Yeah, definitely. Corporate Ministry Undertaker was something special. He was just getting after everybody, crucifying people and trying to force people to marry him. It was crazy. But the one thing I'll say was, I know everybody keeps talking about Vince McMahon is one of the best heels, and I agree to that. But to me, he's nothing more than a fucking copycat, because he became Mr. McMahon after the Montreal Screwjob. Guess what, guys? Yeah, see, that's why I'm here, fellas, to school you so you can learn something. Fellas, he's the copycat. What did Eric Bischoff do a year earlier? He was the WCW president. He left and he joined the NWO. He's the NWO president. He was the WCW president, joined the NWO. So what? He was the guy that was in charge, and what did he do? He joined the bad guys. He did the heel work. He did all the evil things. He was working for. He was trying to get matches for the NWO to win. That's it. He put everything in their corner. Vince McMahon just copied him. He's a fucking copycat. There's no difference.
Well, let's look at this. You're saying that he copied. I think Vince just did it better, because Eric's company ended up going under after that. After when Eric started doing that and doing things for the NWO, everybody wanted to join.
Is the ref involved?
Huh? I mean, am I wrong? It was. I mean, to me, it was just like, if anybody can get in, that's what's going to water it down. To me, that's what made the Four Horsemen so better. And we might be going off top here. I'm gonna bring it back, but that's what made them so much better, because only a select group could join. By Eric doing what he did, I mean, Vince saw it and he was like, "Come on, I can do that better." Who did Eric fire?
Now, I didn't mention my last choice.
Who was?
The Flair, baby. Nobody mentions Flair. Come on now. Let's be real about Flair. 95.
Nature Boy.
Flair, Nature Boy did something incredible and changed the way people looked at him for a long time. And it's one of the two things, man, that people forget, that he defected from WCW and joined WWE. Think about this. This is 90s. Let's say it. Let's be real, right? And let's talk about it, bro. Starrcade, he took the belt from Vader, bro. Spoiler. Heel taking a championship, bro, and becoming a champion. Look at how long his reign has been. You can't help but say woo anytime you hear a woo. You feel me? But I'll hot tag anyone else in who wants a piece of that.
I want to hear from Mr. Rell, Mr. Muscle Man. He got something. So what you got?
Oh hell yeah, I got something to say here. The Eric Bischoff. First of all, I agree with Undertaker. He was a heel pretty much for most of his career. He had a few little face moments, but my God, the Ministry of Darkness, Undertaker was one of the best heels of all times, and one of the darkest character of all times.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me touch on that Eric Bischoff. What Eric Bischoff did a year earlier was fantastic. What Vince McMahon did throughout the 90s. And here's the difference is WCW did not have a top face the way that WWE had. So in turn, Vince McMahon's impact as the top heel of the 90s was greater because there was no bigger star than Stone Cold Steve Austin in the 90s. There were no bigger star than The Rock in the 90s. Eric Bischoff didn't bother Goldberg that much in the 90s. Vince McMahon was a pain in the ass to Stone Cold, The Rock, hell, even Triple H at times, prior to the corporation. So for anybody to even debate Vince McMahon is ridiculous. Okay?
I can agree with you with this.
I'll end it
told...
off with this. The Ric Flair, he is one of the best heels in the 90s. You can go even further back. But one thing he didn't mention was not only did he leave for WWF, he took the title, WCW's title, with him. That was the biggest slap in the face you can do to any company.
Just
and I'll take it away from there. You can take it away from there.
Jose, what you got, baby?
I mean, he hit it hard, bro. Think about it, yo. You got Taker has got the streak, bro. It's the streak, man. Who wants to go against the streak? And the streak kept it going for a long time, man. Nobody likes messing with the Undertaker, dude. You know, it's ridiculous because Triple H. Think about it, man. Triple H has created so many factions, and he's done it being the heel. You know, you see him even going against McMahon, which is another thing that had us captivated for a long time. His feud with the McMahons. Think about it. This is two heels going against each other. And I want to kind of hot tag Jay Will in just because I know. Go for it, bro.
Okay. Jay Will. Excuse me. Jay Will, you hold your turn because I know you got something baking over there, baby. I want to hear from Colin right quick, and we're gonna save Jay Will for the last.
You know, without Eric Bischoff, there is no Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, and excuse me, rewind that. There is no Mr. McMahon. First, for example, right? He thought the Montreal Screwjob. He thought he was right. There's a delusional old man, but there is no Mr. McMahon. If you catch my drift, okay. So Eric Bischoff gave them the idea. Oh, you know what? I'm in power. I'm in control. What can we do? It's us versus them mentality. So for you to say somebody said there was no main face. Excuse me? Sting was the biggest fucking face.
I was waiting for somebody to say that.
In the world.
Sting was not on Stone Cold's level. I'm sorry to interrupt you, guys.
Hold on. Everybody in neutral corners.
Thank you. Get back in the corner.
Not Stone Cold.
Exactly. Stone Cold Steve Austin came in 1998 and half of 1999 because he got injured in 99. Sting was the biggest face in the world. The dude didn't even wrestle for a year. That's how big Sting was. He didn't wrestle for 18 months. He stopped wrestling late 96. He did not have, all he did was come down from the rafters, point a baseball bat, scorpion death drop somebody, stinger splash, beat someone's ass. Sting was the biggest face. In 1998 and half of 1999, there was Austin. And by the way, everybody wants to hype up Stone Cold. I appreciate Austin. That nigga had a cup of coffee. Compared to somebody like Hulk Hogan, who was on top for 20 years, Austin was big for about a year and a half. He came back in 2001 and he got his ass, he took his ball and went home 8 months later. Stone Cold Steve Austin kissed my ass.
Ooh, okay, Rell. Get him, Rell.
Sorry, guys. Look, say what you want. I'm not debating Sting being one of the top faces. I think that goes without saying, especially in WCW. I put him ahead of Goldberg. Goldberg had a little run, but Sting overall was bigger. But let's not get it twisted. When we name the top wrestlers or top faces in the history, Sting will not go ahead of Stone Cold Steve Austin. So with that being said, he may go ahead of The Rock. I wouldn't really argue that. But there is no way he goes over Stone Cold. And because of that, because Stone Cold's biggest feud was Vince, it's why Vince McMahon is undoubtedly the biggest heel of the 90s. And he also did it against other 3 top wrestlers of the company. Eric Bischoff did it against 1.
Vince McMahon did it against every single one, and he cheated.
Everyone they tried to come against him.
On every, remember how Stone Cold turned heel? It was joining with Vince McMahon. There was no other way he could have went heel. It still flopped.
And that's how
But that was the only way he could have did it. I'm going back into my corner, but I had to do a running chair shot there.
Okay. We're going to write this down and get back to it. Jay Will.
He went from heels to faces so fast, but I'm going to have to bring back the original, the greatest, the bad guy, Razor Ramon. How can we ever forget Razor Ramon, the bad guy, Chico? Come on now, let's think for 1 second. The man was ultra disrespectful. The toothpick throw to your face. Are you serious?
We fighting.
Are you kidding me? Then when he deflected, went to WCW. And the only reason why that he didn't come in as Razor Ramon was because Vince owned the name. But he still kept that bad guy persona. He just had to drop the accent. Scott Hall, still to this day, one of the greatest bad guys ever. Come on now, don't disrespect the king like that.
And there you go. Okay. So that was a good segment. We're going to move on to the next one, guys. I thank you for your thoughts on that one. And there's some topics in there we're definitely going to have to come back to later. Okay. So the next topic that we're going to talk about is the next segment we like to call pay-per-view of the week. And this week's pay-per-view of the week was Starrcade 93. Okay. It was down there in Flair country. Jay Will. Woo! This is in your neck of the woods. You know what I mean? So we're going to go around a square circle, and I want to get everybody's favorite moments and highlights from it. What did you think about the pay-per-view? And we're going to show respect, and we're going to start from the man from Flair country. So Jay Will in the red corner. Let me know.
3 was such an interesting pay-per-view for me to revisit. I did catch it as a kid, but I needed to really refresh on it. Very decent lineup, honestly. Some of my highlights of the Starrcade was the first match that was televised. It had 6 matches, but the first match that was televised, we had a young Buff Bagwell, and you got to see a young
your Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Good tag team match, but the Ric Flair match, the hit with Big Band Vader, great match. They sold up the drama so well to it. You got to see him traveling from his home. We got to see a young Charlotte Flair. Got to see him kiss his family. Even at the end of the match, after he won, you got to see a really good moment where he got to see his family in the back. Very good. I mean, overall, like all the matches were okay, but like that match was with Ric Flair and Vader was pretty good. And the first tag team match of the night, I was a little disappointed by the Sting and Hawk tag team match that we saw earlier in that night. That was a little disappointing, but overall, I mean, it was worth a good watch.
Okay. Yeah, that ended. I didn't like how that ended either. That was real sloppy. There was decent, matches on there. Some matches not worth mentioning. We got to see Cactus Jack do his thing.
Disappointing
too. Yeah, I was just about to say I don't even remember the other wrestlers that was in there because they're not wrestling anymore. And Cactus Jack was the only one that had a decent career. What do you think about that, Jose?
That's the thing about Foley, man. I mean, Foley is amazing, dude. He does a great job. The great thing is that you tagged him up with 2 big dudes. You got 2 big dudes going against 2 big dudes, and all you can see is a lot of movement. So you don't really get to see, Cactus Jack being the full Cactus Jack, the lovable Cactus Jack that we know and we love cracking up about. So it kind of robs you in that moment, but we know him now and we kind of see back and reflect and we're like, man, dude, he still had the moves, man. You see that the hair was looking luxurious.
Hey, okay, like flowing. I
Like he
mean,
just came back from writing a book,
he
man.
had that highlight. I'm not going to go in his hair too much, but he basically was like the only one that had the highlight. You know what I mean? I know you're a hair guy. You know, we're going to let you and Palomino keep that. But he was the only one in that match that was working. You know what I mean? And I learned this terminology from Stone Cold where you got a guy, and if you got one guy that can make three other guys look good, that guy is a fucking beast. And that's what I saw in that match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's incredible. You know, I wanted to also mention that you got one awesome match too in there that we owe Austin. You know, we overlook it because it's Austin, but you had Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, versus Austin. You know, and his best 2 out of 3
you know about
falls
the natural Dustin Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes' son.
Yeah,
That was his son.
the nasty. Yeah,
Right,
that's what I'm
don't get
trying
him
to tell you.
confused. A lot of people get him confused. Yes, that
Yeah.
was another match that I did like. I wish it could have went the whole 3 falls. You know, so I didn't like the finish of that one either. You know, you got 2 great superstars who, you know, one career was cut short, and Steve Austin, great performer, and the natural Dustin Rhodes, also known as Goldust, who's still out there doing his thing now. You know, so it's great. You know, Colin, what do you think?
Yeah, I got a couple of points. Just first thing I want to say is, you know, Jay Will is usually right about once every 4 years, but he was right about this pay-per-view. You know, watching this match as an adult highlights the things that you would have missed as a kid. So the funny thing was, I was watching the pay-per-view the other day, and they were like, it was Dustin Rhodes versus Stunning Steve Austin, and Tony Schiavone said, at one point, these two are the future of WCW for the next decade. And I looked and I said to myself, what the fuck? I said, what the fuck? Because basically both of those guys were out of WCW within 2 years, and WCW was shut down less than a decade later. So I thought that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, the funny thing is, the first thing you see as you watch a pay-per-view like this, it's talent across the board. You got Flair versus Vader, obviously in the main event. Marshall, you talked about Vader. That dude was fucking great. He was just a monster. No pain. You know, 450 pounds, just moving. He could do a moonsault. The power, the speed, just nasty, just brutal force.
Backflip. Backflip.
Fucking that power bomb was so fucking stiff. It was out of control. Obviously he was fighting Ric Flair in Ric Flair's hometown. Basically, if Flair lost the match, he'd have to retire. Flair kissing his wife and kids goodbye. Little Charlotte crying, his wife crying. Limousine riding with Gene Okerlund. Gene is concerned. They're thinking Ric Flair is gonna get fucking murdered. That was just pure storytelling. Like I said, you got the two. You got Dustin Rhodes, the natural Dustin Rhodes, Jose, the natural Dustin Rhodes versus Stunning Steve Austin. You know, Tony Schiavone was right, but it was just for another company. But he was right. They were the future. You got a technical classic like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Lord Steven Regal for the TV title. Both of those dudes make you think that, you know, wrestling is fucking real. You know, they both do the little things where it's like, oh shit, this motherfucker, like, this is real. they're really scrapping in there.
There were some shots that I like, okay, that looked like a legitimate UFC shot right there. You know what I mean? Like Flair's bleeding from the mouth and everything. I don't mean to cut you off, Kyle. I want to get Jay Will's thoughts on this. Jay Will, what do you think? The Flair match, the Vader match. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was pretty emotional for you.
Fuck you. Second of all, the Ric Flair match. Great match. Solid 30-minute, close to 30-minute match. We had Ric Flair, who was in his hometown. Everything was on the line for him. I mean, the drama was sold up. Great match. Solid ending of the match. The drama backstage, having him go to his family and stuff, I could have done without that. But I mean, it was the 90s. We could have expected the cheesiness back then. But you brought up a very good point, Colin. I have to really give you the credit for it. That Steven Regal fight, solid match. 100% solid match. He's We brought him up earlier. He is overlooked. He did some good matches where he brought in heat to himself. He would do the thumb to the eye. He would do the low blows. Him versus Ricky Steamboat was a solid match. I'm still confused as to why we had the Shockmaster King Kong match. That was a huge waste of time.
Yeah, was terrible. Jose, I want to know your thoughts on this one.
Man, I think that was an incredible match. I think a lot of people forget to mention, that William Regal killed it. He killed it, man. And you see his movement with Steamboat, man. They had some kind of like chemistry. It's when you put two good talents together and you just kind of let them work. And their finish, it was a clean finish too, man. You can't help but say it was overall you're happy with the match, and you're still hungry for another one.
Right. Because with that match, it was a TV title match, and TV title matches came with the 15-minute time limit. So you're absolutely correct. It was a great match, very physical. One of the moves that I like that Steven Regal did, and Colin brought this up, was like the little things that he did. So if you watch the match and they're locked up, Regal does this little move where he puts it behind Steamboat's knee to make Steamboat collapse. And that is like such a great technical veteran move. And Regal is such a great technician, so I love watching him.
No, plus you got Shockmaster too. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's what I thought you was talking about, was a great match. So what do you think about that?
Man, you got him going against King Kong, and you see him moving the way that he moves. You don't expect that kind of movement. But and like we said, because it's not one of these kind of big title matches, it gets overlooked. But overall, it fills up the card. And it gives you a decent pay-per-view.
Okay. Colin, what do you think?
Jose, I got a quick question for you, boss.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question. What do you think about Ricky Steamboat?
What do you mean? What do I think about him?
What do you think about him? You're a baby.
Overall, what do I rank him?
You tell me, nigga. What do you when you look at Ricky Steamboat? What do you think about him? How do you feel? Where do you rank him? Give me something. I want to hear your thoughts so I can shit on him.
He's in the mood today.
He's hungry. He's hungry, dude. He's hungry.
Let's go. Go on.
Feed him. Yo, give him the ride back. Feed him more.
I want to feed him. But you know what? I don't know. I think in the infamous words of Quavo, they can all kiss my ass.
Okay. But what are your thoughts on Steamboat? What do you think about Ricky the Dragon?
Steamboat, I like that Steamboat has done this job for a long time. Okay, we don't give credit to a lot of these athletes that have put time in and time out, matches after matches, even following gimmicks that aren't even their own gimmicks. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have to become a character that entirely doesn't even represent them. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about that, like I kind of want to give it to Jay Will so he can tear up this trash talker.
Mm-hmm.
Because this jabroni just likes talking out of his mouth. That's what I'm just saying. But
so what do you think about Steamboat? Do you love him? Do you think he's the greatest wrestler of all time? Like plain cut and dry. What are your thoughts on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat?
I think Steamboat did exactly what he needed to do for wrestling. Okay, for wrestling in general. All right. Is he an amazing wrestler? Top amazing wrestler, most famous? No. Let's be real. No. But think about it.
What match were you watching when you sat here and said that the Shockmaster fight versus King Kong match was a good fight on the card? The match ended in less than 5 minutes. Whose attention was there? I didn't have enough time to leave my seat, go to the bathroom, and get a drink, and come back by the time that match was done. That match was terrible. That match was boring. We didn't talk about it, but the Rick Rude versus the Boss fight.
That was a good match.
Totally a good match. Underwritten, untalked about, solid. What is it, the International World Heavyweight title? Great. match. The boss, amazing job. Rick Rude, famous. We can't ignore Rick Rude. His contributions were amazing to us.
Another underutilized guy in the 90s, even though he was champ. Like, I mean, Rick Rude was the man. Colin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean the boss versus Rick Rude match, that was actually a pretty good match. I'm actually surprised. Bossman or excuse me, the boss was moving around. He was fighting like it was his last title match of his career. So he was really doing some things. Rick Rude, Marshall, back to what you're saying, dude. Rick Rude was underutilized. He should have been world champion. That's one of the people in the 90s right there. He could have been a world champion, Mr. Perfect. Another one. They were best friends. That's why I thought about him. But but Rick Rude, his WCW theme song was one of the best. I loved it, but
yeah, it wasn't too good when he went to WCW. I like the WWE one better.
Sure.
So yeah, thanks for you guys' thought. We're gonna leave that segment there. And we're gonna transition. Okay. We're gonna transition to a former WCW guy who became a WWE guy. Okay. And we're talking about the one and only Goldberg. So I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts on his tenure, I would say his first tenure with the WWE. Do you guys think that the WWE did Goldberg wrong? And we're going to start off in the red corner with Jay Will.
Okay. I've really been feeling a certain way about this. I don't think that Goldberg was done wrong by any means. I think Goldberg came in on a terrible time. He was brought in, and his first feud was with The Rock, correct? He came in, huge names already there. Goldberg came in from the WCW. He had such a huge buildup. He had the streak. Over 100 matches. He won the US title. Then he won the world title in the WWE, in WCW. Then they took him down so many pegs in the worst way. Cattle prod, jumping him by the NWO. Then he came over to WWE. He had nowhere else to go at the time. So I don't think that he was done wrong. I just think it was poor timing for him to come in. Just me. That's just me and my argument on it. Just saying.
Okay. Jose, what do you think?
I had to really think about this. I really did, because Goldberg is one of those kind of talents that you can just tell he can fit a mold. He can fit a persona that the WWE or the WWF or WCW would want to back and give the push. You know what I mean? That they would need to be, so that way they can sell their merchandise and do what they got to do, and keep the brand going. I personally think Goldberg could have had a great run with the WWE, and probably shooken up the whole idea of storylines the way that you would expect him to, because why? You know he's a train. You know he's going to run through your wrestlers. We know that. Our idea could have been throughout that whole year who can beat Goldberg, and made it like a competition, a legitimate fight, or do it 2-on-1, 3-on-1. We've seen the network. I call them the network because they've been doing this for a long time. The network has a good way of putting 2 or 3 against 1, and we still watch the match and enjoy it. So why not pit Goldberg against 2 or 3 guys at the same time and give us our enjoyment for the year?
Yeah, make a squash match. Feed him 2 guys and let him have his way with them. Couple spears, couple of jackknives.
And if you know he's a great talent coming in, why not give him the belt?
Yeah.
Sell your merchandise. Get the most out of him. Squeeze the most you can out of him in that year. Because he's at his peak of his hype. Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Colin, Black Corner, what do you think?
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Everyone's fucking wrong again. So Jay Will, who was Goldberg gonna fight? Right? Who should he have fought first? Fucking Spike Dudley? No, The Rock was the best choice, especially since he was on his way out. First off, everybody fucked up. Goldberg's mentality, fucked up. The streak kind of fucked him up in the long run because he started believing his own bullshit. He signed on for only a year. That's fucked up. And then the WWE didn't have the roster for fucking Bill Goldberg. Jose's wrong too. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Quavo, you're fucking wrong. So, so like, you're this whole idea of 2-on-1 handicap matches and Goldberg was on top. Goldberg wasn't on top in 2003, 2004. People hadn't seen that dude in over 2 years. So fuck no. Putting him 2-on-1 against other people, he's not fucking Ryback. He is Goldberg. So you have to put him on top. You have to put him against somebody like The Rock, I guess, because The Rock is leaving. You have to go against, I guess, the ex-undisputed champion, Chris Jericho. That's who you have available because remember, the roster is so slim. So if it was a full roster and you're going against everybody, you could have spaced it out. Okay, you could have had him go against Kurt. You could have had him go against Shawn. You could have had him go against, but at the same time, you're cannibalizing your fucking roster for a year. That doesn't make any sense. He's only going to stick around for a year. He can act like a little bit of a bitch if he doesn't get his way. And, oh, I'm not winning. Oh, I'm not being treated right. All right, I'm not happy. All right, I'm leaving. Fuck Goldberg.
Ooh, strong words from Colin. That's why we call him Mr. PipeBomb. And I hear what you're saying. You know, I understand exactly where you're coming from because, you know, Goldberg did want to just do his own thing, and that streak did go to his head, and certain people he didn't want to lose to. Jay Will, you got a retaunt for the PipeBomb?
We really want to say that it made sense for Goldberg to come in and fight The Rock. No, it doesn't make sense. He had a 1-year contract. Yes, we had amazing hype for him because we knew his resume from WCW. But no, you don't put him off at the top of the roster that way. He honestly, I will give him his credit. I'll give him all the respect that he deserves. Did he deserve a main event? No, he didn't deserve that. Did he? Maybe if he could have done some matches with Triple H. Triple H was there on the roster for him at that time. Like, no, we're not going to put him with Spike Dudley. Yeah, that's disrespectful. I'm not going to disrespect that man for that. But putting him up against The Rock, the face of the company, come on now. No thanks. No, I'm not cool with that. That's not okay with me. No, pass that shit to someone else. Give it to Quavo.
Okay. I'm going to get a hot tag to Rell.
You know what? I think that they didn't use him wrong. I had time to think about this, so I'm gonna go back and say I don't think they used him wrong. I actually think The Rock was probably their best option to get him in WWE and just get the ball rolling as fast as they can. Stone Cold was already gone. A lot of the wrestlers were already gone. And The Rock, in terms of size, and a few others, and maybe Triple H, were the only one really comparable to Goldberg at that moment. I just think where I stand is I think that it was just poor timing. I felt that if Goldberg had just given in earlier to say, you know what, and this is me being a selfish fan, that I think if he had just said, you know what, let me just get in WWE right away once WCW went under, I think it would have been the best time to use him, and we would have gotten the best matches as fans to witness. So I don't think they used him wrong. I think they used him to the best ability that they could at the moment, and you could see that when they even tried with Brock Lesnar. But I definitely think that the timing was completely off. That's all.
Okay. I think that with the comparison to Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, I think you have one guy that's a WWE guy, and you have another guy that's a WCW guy. And when it comes to Vince, we already know which way he's going to go. Colin, what you think?
So I'm starting to develop a little bit of a headache. I think it was Jay Will who said the first person that Goldberg should have gone against was fucking Triple H. Triple H, who the night before beat Booker T at WrestleMania 19, who was the fucking world champion. So you want Goldberg in his first match to beat your fucking world champion. What, Jay Will, if you were running a company, that shit would be dead in about 2 weeks. That shit don't make sense. You have to go the way you have to go have Goldberg go against your top people. But again, there's not enough time because he's going to squash them all and then he's going to be gone. That defeats the purpose. That's the only person that helps is Goldberg. It doesn't help the company because why? He's gone. It's not going to help Goldberg in the long run because why? He's mad because he's losing matches. Goldberg probably should have come in 2002. That made the most sense. But having him come 2004, Quavo at the height of his fucking popularity 2 years or 3 years after WCW went down. Good job. Made no fucking sense. And putting him against Triple H, your world champion, and having him beat your world champion made no fucking sense. Come on, y'all. Do better.
Jose, let me get some return from you, Jose.
I'm kind of speechless. At, I can't lie.
He's skipping a tag. Okay, I'm gonna get a hot tag to Jay Will. I know Jay Will got something to say. Jay Will, fire him up.
We know for a fact that Triple H beat Booker T, right? Do you realize how easy of an angle it is to say that Goldberg can take the reins as the WCW guy to come in and then take the title from Triple H? Are you serious? You're telling me that that's not a marketable play right there? That's not something that you can shoot for? Come on, man. Come on, bro. You really want to say that to me? I'm done. I'm good. Call me big-headed, bro.
So let me ask this to both of you guys. How would you guys have booked Goldberg? Colin, what you got?
Me personally.
How would you have booked Goldberg?
First off, I would not. The first thing is the time. I'm not gonna have him come in 2004, right? Me personally, I would have thrown a fucking dump truck of money at him during the WCW invasion. Me personally, I would have bought out some contracts, so you could have made it a true WCW invasion. Storylines be damned. Hell, you bring in Eric Bischoff, right? Eric Bischoff is the mouthpiece of WCW, quote unquote, for the invasion, and fuck it, make him Bischoff's bodyguard. So you got to buy out Hulk's contract. You got to buy out Hall and Nash's contract. You got to buy out Steiner's contract. Make it a true fucking WCW invasion. That's how you kind of let it go. But again, to have him come in and beat your world champion in his very first match makes no fucking sense.
Okay, Jay Will. Same question to you. How would you have booked Goldberg?
Steiner. He's fucking trash. We wouldn't have ever signed him. But then, yeah, we would have brought Goldberg over. But again, I would have booked him against Triple H. It's profitable. They're two big men. They would have sold. They would have 100% sold. The only thing that I will say is Goldberg did not develop any sort of mic skills in the WCW and in that in-between time. His mic skills were still trash. So, no, damn that. Have Eric Bischoff as his mouthpiece. That way, it would have worked out the best. But at that point, the invasion angle will work. I will 100% agree with you. Have him come in with the true invasion angle with Goldberg, a real face of WCW at that time. Scott Steiner was a gimmick. He was trash.
The big bad booty daddy.
Big Papa Pump.
All right, Rell, what do you think? How would you have booked Goldberg?
I mean, I just got to stand by my stance where I took it the first time. Might be a boring stance, might be not as controversial as everybody else's, but it makes the most sense out of everybody else's. Which is I would have just tried to bring him in earlier, do my best as a WWE owner and employee, and try to get him in as fast as I can so I can build the best feud for Goldberg and take advantage of the time. Remember, he has limited in-ring skill set, so we have to put him against the best. I think one match that may have worked the best probably would have been even against Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels could bring the best out of big men. He proved that with The Undertaker several times. He proved that against Triple H. He may not be a big man, but he's bigger than him. He's proved that a lot of times in his wrestling career that he could work against any type of wrestler. So I definitely probably would have booked him against Shawn Michaels just to try to get Michaels to carry him, but also sell to him. I think that would work best with Goldberg as well. I think that's probably the only thing different because, again, it was limited roster at that time. And so, I mean, there's not much you could have done with Goldberg at that moment, which is why I still stand by. I would have done my best to get him in earlier. But the one thing I would definitely would have tweaked was put Shawn Michaels in there early and get a long feud out of it, because I think you could have put on an A+ match with Shawn Michaels.
Okay. Colin, you got anything you want to add to that?
I think basically with the whole thing with the WCW invasion there was a lack of talent. So if you have somebody like Goldberg, you buy out the contract, somebody like Goldberg, somebody like Hulk, Hall, and Nash, and Steiner, or whoever else. Basically, you're thinning out you're pushing all the garbage ass talent down. So you don't have like no one cares about Booker. I mean, no one cares about Booker T. But versus somebody like Hulk Hogan, versus somebody like Hulk Hogan, versus somebody like Goldberg. That is the true face of WCW. So having Goldberg in 2002 and not 2003 when they couldn't go anywhere with that. It was a fucking waste of time. Just like booking him against Triple H.
Okay. I'm going to go to Jay Will one more time, the infamous. Like to add anything on any of that, Jay Will?
Go with Rell. I agree that at the time, booking him up against Shawn would have been great. You have someone who is a legend in his own right with Goldberg. He was an instant legend with WCW, but then you actually had the legend of Shawn Michaels there, and that would have been a good setup. I like that booking of it personally. It would. I can't remember if Shawn was a face at the time, but I think that would have been a good look for a match. Definitely, if it's only just a 1 year with the 1 year contract, I definitely would have booked that too. But Triple H would have been good. I'm still sticking to my guns with Triple H on that one. Fuck what they talk about.
All right. We're gonna go around the ring one more time, and Jose.
Man, I'm trying to tell you the question is, did he get a good? Did he not get a good push? I still feel like Berg was because when you have a guy like Goldberg and you can have a following to go behind that, you have the entire WCW crowd. Give the fans what they want, man. And the reason why a lot of these matches don't go the way they should go is because they take too long to give the fans what they want. But that's just my opinion.
Okay. Hey, and an opinion is just like an asshole, baby. Everybody got one. You know what I mean? So we're going to end it there. We're going to wrap it there. And I just want you guys to know that it has been great. It's just the first podcast. I hope you guys had a great time. Colin, Mr. PipeBomb, did you have a good time?
I guess, honey. I mean, having to listen to terrible ass opinions. I mean, it's not good for my blood pressure, but I had a good time talking to you, Marshall. At least you're right.
My man. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to get in touch with Paul Heyman and see what he does. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a Heyman guy, and he's like, he gets it done. So I'm gonna see what he does with his blood pressure. Let me get back to you on that, brother. All right?
Appreciate you.
My man. Jay Will, Red Quarter. Did you have a good time today?
Colin, bro, we this gonna have to go backstage, bro, because I ain't feeling bro. We gonna but this is great. Y'all, I can't wait. I can't wait for it.
My man, hey, I'm gonna see you back in Gorilla, Jay. All right, I'm gonna see you back in Gorilla. Inspirational Muscle Man, Rell, Silver Corner. Did you have a good time today, baby?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely enjoyed my time. I listened to some asinine comments from some asinine people but I definitely enjoyed my time with everybody. Definitely, we're gonna have to take this backstage and get into it a little bit more. And I'm sure one day people will get to hear our underground conversations one day. But as for now,
all right. Hey, I'm gonna meet you back in Gorilla also. And we're gonna go to the last one, Blue Corner, Jose Quavo. I know you had a blast today, man.
Quavo, I had fun pushing, and prodding and picking nerves, because it's a lot how people feel about wrestling. This is why we do it, and I'm definitely excited to watch some more wrestling. That's gonna be my New Year's resolution this year. Watch a lot more wrestling because I want to be able to put these jabronis in their place. You feel me? I got to put some of these jabronis in their place thinking they can drop bombs out here. But if you haven't follow me at jose.quavo8 or josequavo8 on IG. And yeah, man, definitely keep checking out this podcast. We got a lot of fun headed our way. Oh man. It's good.
My man, Jose Cuevo. He's trying to lay the smackdown on you candy asses. That's what he's talking about. So that's going to be our show for today, everybody. All right. We'd like to wish y'all a happy new year. Okay, just know that we're doing 2 podcasts a week. Sundays is the new school, and Thursdays are the old school. Okay, and this has been a 613 Faye production. Big shout out to 613 Faye production on YouTube. And you guys like gaming? You guys like PS5s,
Oh
Xbox?
snap! Oh snap!
You know, so you know they about to drop that new joint. It's already out. I'm not
Where's the
getting a new
cube?
joint yet.
Where's the
I'm
cube?
gonna tune in to this podcast. You know, on the 613 Faye production joint called Tone and Cash Gaming Pad Podcast, and I'm gonna see what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? They know everything gaming, new systems, new games. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see they got some cheat codes for real, for real. I don't even know they do cheat codes, but guess what? I'm an ass. I don't know, but they know, and they know about that new 2K Battleground. I'm gonna ask them about that shit. I bet y'all ain't know I play video games, huh? Damn right. So make sure y'all tune into that. That's a great show they got going on over there. Thursdays at 11 a.m. on YouTube, 613 Faye Production. Make sure you go in there, like, subscribe. Four Corners of Wrestling. In the Four Corners of Wrestling, you can catch us on the 613 Faye Productions on the YouTube channel. Make sure you check this out. I am your host, Marshall, Mr. Soul Simmons. You can catch me on Twitter at Mr. Soul, Soulboy1521. Catch me on Instagram. I am Soul. I_am_Soul_40. That's me. On Facebook, catch me on Marshall Simmons. And like I said again, one more time, you can catch 613 Faye Productions on YouTube and Instagram, 613 Faye DMV, and on YouTube. So once again, I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. Happy New Year. Bring in 2021 with a bang. We be safe. And remember, leave this shit to the professionals. Don't try this at home. We love you guys. We're out.